Hey, parents, welcome back. I just want to give a shout out to all our faithful listeners. Listen, we have been getting texts and emails from you just telling us that you're listening to the episodes, highlighting which episodes are your favorites, and then letting us know that you're sharing these with people in your circles. So it's just so good to hear from the end user, right? The people that are out there consuming the content. It's just awesome. So you guys are a wonderful part of our community, and I've just been feeling really grateful for the depth and the breadth of our parent community here at Families of Character. And partly I think today when I'm recording this episode, it's because just last night we had our alumni meetup for our coaching couples that have gone through our 6-week coaching course. And man, it was so awesome to see them just sharing their experiences with each other, sharing resources, things that work well for them in their home setting and with their kids. And just to see them laugh with each other and connect with other couples from across the nation. So we have people connecting from Wisconsin and Kansas and Texas and Colorado. And it's just been an awesome little journey starting up this couples coaching and the alumni Zoom room that you go into right after you finish your coaching series. So just want to also give a little shout out to the parents that have participated in that and continue to be part of our virtual community. Listen, if you are new to the show, what you need to know is that on this show, we explore the dynamics of modern family life. We also share insights, tips, and solutions for fostering strong, resilient family bonds. That's what we're about here at Families of Character. So I'm your host, Jordan Langdon, and today we're going to delve into the ever-pressing issue of time scarcity in the whirlwind of modern family life. You might notice yourself saying more often than not, "Oh, I just don't have any time." And I often hear parents say, "Time? We don't have time for family dinners. Like we're constantly on the run." Or date night. Yeah, right. What's that? Maybe we'll have time for that when our kids leave the nest. Listen, guys, I'm a married mom of 3 kids that range from senior in high school down to 4th grade. And I homeschool my kids and I run a business. So I get it. There's so much that we're trying to balance, and time is an issue. The struggle is real. I'm telling you that relentless ticking of the clock is a constant adversary for many, many families today. So it can just really feel like, trying to balance work and home and, kids stuff and relationships and health issues. It can feel like a real uphill battle and leave us feeling real stretched thin and just kind of yearning for more time to connect with our spouse and our kids. So this issue of time scarcity is it's something that we all experience, okay? The repercussions of the time crunch extend beyond mere logistics, though. Our stress levels rise, the quality of family life suffers as cherished moments of connection slip right through the cracks. And I'm just here to tell you, fear not, dear listeners. I mean, there are solutions to be found. I'm going to share from my own personal experience here some of the ways we got some time back with each other. So first, let's just embrace this idea of saying no to things. Because by discerning between commitments that enrich our lives and those that drain our time and our energy, we can reclaim precious moments for the people and activities that truly matter. So I want you to just pause for a minute and think, what is it that you are spending your time on currently, maybe in the evenings or on the weekends, or just in your regular daily routines that you could cut out or say no to. And I know it's difficult to do. And probably your knee-jerk reaction is there's nothing. I've got to do it all. There's no room for cutting anything out. And I'm just going to have to accept the fact that I don't get me time. I don't get time with my spouse. Like, it's just the way it has to be. I'm going to challenge you on that. Okay. I'm really going to challenge you to really critically look at how you spend your time on a daily basis and where you could cut something to get time back with your spouse or your kids. Listen, I got to tell you, a friend of mine declared an entire year her year of no. You know, at the beginning of the year, how you kind of pick a theme for the year or whatever? Well, she had it. She felt so exhausted, burnt out, and disconnected from her spouse, and felt like the kids were always kind of complaining and tattling on each other, and she found herself nagging and yelling at him. I know, it sounds like all of our families, right? Well, she just decided, I've had it. I'm going to declare an entire year of no. Well, she did this because she wanted to say yes to her husband and to her kids, and be intentional about cooking homemade meals every night so they could kind of build back these bonds and that foundation of unity and closeness. So she took that entire year and politely declined lots of invitations to help at her kids' school, to go to happy hours, to attend community events that she normally would go to. Saying no was easier for her that year because she wasn't just saying no. By saying no, she was saying yes to her husband and yes to her children. And to this day, she says that was the best year yet for her. So it's important to stop, to recalibrate and assess how you are spending the 24 hours you have every day, and then be willing to say no without guilt. Now, listen, I know by looking at the statistics of who listens to our podcasts, we have a good number of grandparents listening to our podcast. And so that means that likely you've been married for 40 plus years. Well, what I'm hearing in circles of retirees is that, man, now we're so busy doing, golf and pickleball and, going on vacations and doing these other things and getting into our hobbies that we really aren't connecting as couples. So I'm going to challenge you. This isn't just for parents of young kids, but even in your golden years, it's important to discern what you spend your time on, so the people closest to you are getting attention. They're feeling loved and cared for. So tune in for the rest of the episode. If you're over like 50 or 60 or 70, yeah, keep listening. The same thing applies. So second thing I want to talk about is just how nurturing your relationship with your spouse and your kids should always take precedence. Okay, now stay with me now, because I think this could be, this could feel a little abrasive to some of you, but by scheduling specific time for your spouse each week and getting in the rhythm of family dinner together or game night, what happens is you reprioritize bonding, and you reprioritize that sense of belonging within your family unit. So I want to encourage you to put time with your spouse and kids on your calendar. You know how we schedule appointments to go to the chiropractor? We put the days of the week we're going to go to the gym on our calendar. We put our work tasks on our calendar. Why do we do that? To be sure that we're not saying yes to something else during that time period, so that we can honor our commitment. Have you ever thought about putting time with your spouse on your calendar, blocking it as uninterrupted time? We're doing this and we're not going to say yes to anything else. I encourage it. Then once that event pops up on your calendar, you just honor that, right? You maintain your integrity and you you follow through. It's easy to make excuses. I get it. I've done it myself, where you say, you know what? I know we said we're going to have this date tonight, or we're going to sit down and talk with a cup of coffee on Wednesday morning, but I got to get to the gym, or I got to do this one work thing that's really, really important right now. Like, I'm going to miss a deadline. When we do this, it's a form of rejection to our spouse and to our kids. And man, we experience so much rejection in our day-to-day lives, whether it be at work or school or in our neighborhoods or out and about running errands. Like, no, you can't do that. No, you can't return that. No, that's not a good idea. Right? We need to be honoring commitments to our spouse and our kids and following through, so we are not hurting them by rejecting them. Okay. When we say that we want a close relationship with our spouse and our kids, and the reality is that we cancel plans with them, it communicates that work or whatever you did instead, the appearance of your home, tidying up your house instead, or that drink with your coworker, is more important. Guys, I got to tell you, the reason I'm so emphatic about putting time with your family on your calendar is this. I'll be honest, over the past year, I cannot even count the number of couples who I know are getting divorced, have gotten divorced, or separating. And the number one reason they're divorcing after years of marriage is because they say, we drifted apart. Well, when you're focusing on your careers and chasing the almighty dollar, and you all of a sudden work is more important, you're working late nights, or you've got 3 extra jobs that you're running to here and there, that kind of thing wrecks families. So then when the kids leave the home, all of a sudden you're looking at each other going, what do we have in common? Now we're supposed to spend time with each other. There's no noise in the house. There's no kids running underfoot. And so it's awkward for us to just sit in each other's company after we've been disconnected for so many years. Guys, this is happening to couples and families like yours and mine. I mean, when we don't prioritize our spouse and kids, there's this undercurrent of division that happens over time. And while you might not feel like things are too bad right now, or you're going, I don't think that's the case. We don't spend much time together as a couple, or, intentional time on a regular weekly basis with our kids where we're not running to sports or anything but I think even though we're not doing those things, I think that we're fine. And you might even ask your spouse, do you think we're fine? I think, okay, we're fine. Trust me, you're not. Okay. Lack of connection wears on you, it wears on your spouse, and your kids end up feeling less and less connected. And then what happens is, in their older years, teenage, early 20s, they have separated from you. They are turning to their peers for support and belonging instead of their family, which is hopefully their most, connected moral compass, right? And that source of loving support. So I guess as the host of this show for parents and the director of Families of Character, I just feel responsible to share these things with you, share the realities of what's happening with good families like yours and mine if they're not prioritizing the right things in their family life. So I want to give you the opportunity to really change the tide for your family. So one day you're not surprised, or I'm not hearing about you saying, our marriage fell apart. We're going our separate ways. So many ramifications on yourself to go through a divorce, I know, and for kids. So any way we can safeguard our marriage and our family life, hey, let's do it. Okay. So number 2, prioritize your spouse and your kids without guilt. Who cares what people say? You sure guys don't do as much as you used to do. I'm sure some people might give you that feedback. That's right. We aren't doing the things that don't matter as much anymore, but we are spending more time together as a family, right? You never have to defend your position in marriage or family life, but if your friends are kind of razzing you up, usually what that means is that they kind of wish that they were making those same decisions. And because maybe they don't have the courage to ask their spouse for that time, or to have the courage to bring up the idea of scheduling weekly time together, they're kind of, elbowing you going, "Oh, really? Are you really doing that?" They're kind of razzing you up. But be a leader in your circle of friends. Show them that yes, we carve out time for each other, and it's important to do that. So third, with family time feeling so scarce, we can do things like streamlining and automating tasks in family life. Working smarter and not harder offers this huge reprieve from that relentless grind of things like household chores, right? So what I would say is leveraging technology and delegating responsibilities among family members, or even outsourcing things to other people, can create that space for relaxation and rejuvenation that we totally need and we're missing right now. So I just want to give you some ideas of ways to streamline regular tasks and automate things to kind of free up some of your time. First thing I would suggest, if you're not already doing this, is to spend about 30 minutes a week, somewhere maybe on the weekend, planning meals and writing those meals down on your calendar. Putting in your Google Calendar, or write them down on your calendar that's at home on the wall. Shop for the groceries and prep whatever you can on Sundays. Then you don't spend extra time or money when it's dinner time during the week. How many times do you think, "Oh, I have no plans for dinner. I'll just go through the drive-through." I did this the other day. It cost me $45 to run through Chick-fil-A, and I didn't even get drinks for anyone, right? We spend extra money. We spend extra time thinking about and worrying about dinner plans when we haven't scheduled them in advance. So meal prepping has seriously changed the dynamics of our household. It has given me tons of time back with my family and has decreased stress in the evenings. So meal planning, grocery shopping, and then prepping the food before the week starts is so awesome. And I would encourage you to include your kids and your spouse in this meal prep. Crank up the tunes on the radio and go to town. Give people jobs of chopping and cutting and bagging things up and grilling up chicken or whatever you're doing to prepare in advance. Make it a family affair. Everybody will do better if you implement this. I promise. Another thing that we did, and I thought I would never do something like this because to me it seemed frivolous. We invested in a robot vacuum cleaner a couple years ago. Okay. I think we spent $125 for this thing. So whenever we leave the house, we have our kids do what we call kind of a 10-minute tidy up. So it's like, okay, we got to leave in 10 minutes. Go get everything up off the floor so our little vacuum doesn't eat it up. So they pick their things up, and then we set that vacuum to run in the house, get all the crumbs off the, underneath the kitchen table and in the dining area. And it even runs in the living room area. Do all that while we're gone. This has been a huge time saver. And this robot vacuum has lasted for years. So it's worth the investment. Not to mention, if you kind of like to see your floors vacuumed or clean when you walk in, that's what you experience if you run this vacuum while you're away. So cool little trick. All right, here's the other thing. We do something called a lockdown weekend once a month. Okay. And by lockdown, we mean nothing's getting in our way. We are staying home and doing things together as a family. So what that looks like on our calendar is we write the words in bold letters, lockdown weekend. We don't schedule a single thing for that weekend. We say no to invitations to do things with our friends and and we just commit to doing things as a family. So it, just having the words lockdown weekend on our calendar is just this great visual, because it gives us that permission to say no to outside activities and to say yes to each other. And we look forward to those weekends, knowing that we can really lean in and get some quality time together. So I'd encourage, whatever language you want to use that to block off a weekend here and there, and maybe do it for the rest of the year. Like right now, just get together with your spouse, or, glance at the calendar and see when you have some open weekends or some fairly open weekends, and lock those down. Permission to say no right there on your calendar. Okay, another thing, outsource things that take up a lot of time so that you can spend time earning more income to free up some financial burdens, right? So if you spend, 5 to 8 hours cleaning up your house and sweeping and vacuuming and cleaning bathrooms and, picking up after people, or, whatever it is, cleaning the house, and you can make $50 or more per hour doing your job or working some, freelance job, pay the $150 to have a cleaning company come in and clean your house. This is not frivolous. This is not, over the top extravagant. This is working smarter, not harder. If you can earn more money by having someone else do some jobs for you that are sucking your time, there's nothing wrong with that. And you shouldn't feel guilty for outsourcing this type of thing. Listen, when it comes to dishes, it seems like at our house, dishes can be a source of constant distress, because we have this open kitchen. You walk in and there can be piles of dishes, and it's just like, no, it just signifies like dirty, just like we're behind. I hate that, right? So commit to just loading the dishwasher every night. Before we go to bed, we load up that dishwasher, we arrange it as efficient as we can. We run it in the night and we unload it first thing in the morning. And we just stay on a routine like that. If it's 3/4 of the way full, we don't wait till the morning when we're going to make it, 1.5 times full and have dishes in the sink. We just run it every night so that we can unload and start fresh in the morning. So here's another thing, laundry, right? Oh, so many people say, if I could, I would hire out someone to do our family's laundry. Sometimes all you need is to get on a schedule, right? Instead of, oh gosh, we can't find what we want to wear, or all the baskets are overflowing. Just schedule it. And there's no judgment about what you choose to do, how you choose to do your schedule. Maybe for one person, they're working from home, and so they say, hey, if I stay on one load of laundry a day, it kind of gives me a break from my work and keeps the baskets from filling up. And then I'm not doing so much at once. So I do a little bit every single day. Or maybe you're the type of person that's like, don't want to think about laundry the whole day, the whole week. I'm going to do it on Saturday, and I'm going to do 8 loads at once. And I'm going to crank up the tunes and, do some other things while I got laundry rolling. But we're going to have all the laundry done on one day. Again, no judgment, but be intentional about when you're going to do it. Because again, if you don't, you would be shocked at how much time and energy you spend just thinking about these things. And then it weighs you down. It actually dampens your creativity and your productivity not to have these habitual things that you have to do anyway in family life scheduled. So pick a date for laundry, or one day, every day, do a little bit of it and stick to it and notice if you get some time back and you free up some time. Dates, right? We talked about before. Oh, we don't have time to date each other. We don't know. That's just not in the cards for us. Or kids' soccer is so important, or we're traveling, for baseball, and that's just not going to work. Again, I'm going to encourage you to do something that seems backwards to most couples, okay? Because I work with hundreds of couples, and this is what they say. We don't ever schedule date night because we can't find a babysitter right now. Or we don't schedule date night because they're just doesn't seem like there's time on the calendar that we could squeeze one in. Guys, I'm going to encourage you to get creative. Dates don't have to happen on Friday or Saturday nights. Dates can happen over a lunch hour. Dates could happen when the kids have gone to bed and you go out on the back porch and you have a glass of wine and you smoke a cigar together. We had a gal on our podcast several episodes ago, Nikki, talking about whiskey and wisdom, right? Like just having good conversations and having a glass of whiskey with your spouse when the kids go to bed. That's considered a date, okay? But what I'm going to encourage you to do is to just put time with your spouse on the calendar. Say date night or date lunch, and find a spot on your calendar right now, schedule it. And then as you are looking at the week ahead on your calendar, you're going to notice that date night on the calendar. And then I want you to trust yourself that because you put it on the calendar, it's important. And number two, you want to maintain your integrity and be sure that you are following through with the commitment to date your spouse. So you're not going to erase it off the calendar or schedule something else or forget about it. So trust that you're going to follow through with what you put on the calendar, and then work over the, week prior to the date to schedule care for your kids or readjust the plan. If you can't find a babysitter, then make the date at home. But don't just avoid putting it on the calendar at all, feeling like we have to have all the details ironed out before we even put it in our schedule. I know this from experience, people. We've tried all the things with date nights, okay? And actually for us, what works best is if we schedule them out for the entire year, because things get so busy and sports schedules change and commitments to go out of town change. So we just lock them down on our calendar for the whole year. And then as it gets close, if something really important comes up, like we have a funeral to go to or something like that, then we can move the date to the following week or the week before, but not lose that time together. So again, if you are, in your golden years, you have kids and grandkids, this too is important, right? Is you don't have to figure out where you're going to go to eat or, if you're going to have someone join you, just put it on the calendar. You know how awesome it feels as a woman anyway. I could speak from my own experience to look out at your calendar 2 and 3 months out and know like, hey, my spouse wants time with me and we've got it locked down on the calendar. This is awesome. Okay. So dating, where there's a will, there's a way. If you want to do it, then you'll make time for it. Guys, I want your marriages to last. I want your kids to enjoy home and enjoy a strong sense of belonging and a spirit of joy in family life. So, and if you're divorced and you're single parenting right now and you're listening to this going, oh, that sounds great if you have a spouse. Listen, you know the struggles. You know already what it's like to do this on your own. And I want you to experience the love of another relationship and the unity of your family. And I think, I have a lot of single parents who have said, Jordan, I like listening to your stuff because I have hope. I do want to be married again someday if it's in the cards for me. And by listening to this stuff, I know what's possible. And I know what I could work on and expect from a mate in the future, right? Because we can never get more time in our actual day. Like 24 hours is all we get. So let's do whatever it takes to make sure the people closest to us know they are loved, valued, and cared for. If this episode was helpful for you in any way or it got you thinking, it'll do that for someone else. So please be just super generous in sharing this with people in your circle. I would even encourage you to forward it in a text message to your spouse. Just hit that little square with the arrow up at the top of your screen if you're listening to this on your phone, and it'll put it right into a text message to your spouse. Pass it on so that we can work together to use this time that we have for what matters. We all need permission to say no to the things that rob us of quality time with our loved ones, and to say yes, a confident yes, to those who are under our roofs. And ultimately, guys, combating the issue of time scarcity, it requires a concerted effort to prioritize what truly brings joy and fulfillment in our lives. So by fostering a culture of intentionality, of communication, and mutual support within our families, we can navigate the challenges of modern parenting with grace and resilience. So let's seize the opportunity to reclaim our most precious resource, time, and invest it wisely in the relationships and experiences that nourish our souls and enrich our lives. Guys, that's all for today's episode of the Families of Character Show. Thank you for joining me as we explore the intricacies and the crazy chaos of modern family life. And until next time, remember to cherish the moments that matter most and prioritize the bonds that make your family strong. Take care, guys, and I'll catch you on another episode real soon.